In this video, we shall understand about the other protocols at the network layer. So far, we had concentrated on only one protocol, that is your internet protocol. But however, there are other protocols which are either used to monitor the health of the network or provide additional information in order to make this internet protocol to work appropriately. The first protocol that we will be studying is ICMP, which stands for Internet Controlled Message Protocol. The next one is ARP protocol, that is Address Resolution Protocol. You have the two protocols RARP and BOOTP, which are used for getting the IP addresses when we know the MAC addresses. However, these two protocols are now replaced with DHCP protocol, which stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. So basically, in this video, we shall be understanding about ICMP, ARP and DHCP protocol, right? Yeah, ICMP. This particular protocol is used to monitor the health of the network. It's basically the exchange of messages between the routers. Okay. So when something unexpected occurs, the event is reported by ICMP, and the protocol is also used to test the internet. Few of the message types have been listed over here, like destination unreachable. This message is sent when a packet could not be delivered to appropriate destination, either because the destination is not there or some link between the source and the destination is broken. In that case, this particular message is sent back to the sender. Time exceeded, the time to live field has hit to 0 before reaching the destination. Parameter problem, some of the fields that have been filled by the upper layer or the IP protocol have an invalid parameter. So in that case, the message parameter problem is reported back. Source quench problem, in order to monitor the congestion in the network. We have already understood the concept on choke packet, hop by hop choke packet, how these are used in order to control the congestion. Redirect, teach the router about the geography. In some cases, usually the server is moved to some other location by giving the different IP address. In such case, the router should route the packet appropriately. In that case, a redirect message is sent back to the sending router. Echo, ask the machine if it is alive in order to send the future messages. Echo reply, the destination replies back to the sending host to tell that yes, I am alive and I am able to receive the messages. Timestamp request, in order to determine when the packet was created and when it was sent. So these are the few of the messages that are typically exchanged between the routers as well as the router and the host in order to monitor the internet. Next, coming to your the second protocol, that is Address Resolution Protocol. We know that every machine on an internet has an IP address. These cannot be used for sending the packets because the data link layer hardware does not understand the internet address. I mean to tell, only by knowing the IP addresses, you cannot construct the packets and frames in order to send them across the internet, because you also need one more address which is called as a MAC address or Ethernet address. Now, they need some mechanism to map this IP addresses to data link layer addresses, and this task is done by a protocol which is called as Address Resolution Protocol. We shall look with one scenario in order to understand why it is important to map the IP address to an Ethernet address and how it is done. Okay, so there are basically two networks over here. One is CS network and one more is EE network. Both have the subnet mask of /24. Okay, and the network address is 192.32.65.0. Here it is 192.32.63.0. Now, here hosts have the addresses from 192.32.65.7 and we have considered two hosts over here, 192.32.65.5. okay. As of now we are assuming the Ethernet address of host 1 is E1 and Ethernet address of host 2 is E2. okay. The router here has two interfaces which is connected to CS network and EE network. okay. And in case of EE network, the network address is 192.32.63.0 and host 3 and host 4 have the IP addresses of 192.32.63.3 and 192.32.63.8 respectively. Again, here the Ethernet address is E5 and E6 respectively. The router also has the IP addresses and Ethernet addresses as shown in the figure. okay. And when I was discussing about the IP addresses, I've already made you clear that the switch does not have any IP addresses assigned to it because it simply broadcasts the frame that it receives. okay. Yeah. So now when the frame comes into your data link layer, it has the source IP address and it should know the source Ethernet address. It already knows the destination IP address and it should get to know the destination Ethernet address. This is what is expected in order to build the frame. If the Ethernet addresses are not known, then your frame is not constructed and it does not get into your physical layer. okay. Now let us see how it operates. Now let us assume the source is host 1 and the destination is host 2 on a CS network. What happens here? The source IP address is IP1, the source Ethernet address is E1, the destination IP address is IP2 and destination Ethernet address is E2. It so happens because both the hosts are there on a same network. Similarly, if host 1 to host 4 on CS network, what happens to this? We fill in the details. However, if they are there on a different network, then your ARP protocol is used to determine the destination Ethernet address. We get to know the destination's IP address with the help of domain name system, but in order to determine the destination's Ethernet address, we go with the address resolution protocol. We'll see stepwise manner how this protocol operates. So step 1, the host 1 determines the IP address of host 2 with the help of DNS. Any destination's IP address is determined with the help of DNS. So the upper layer software, that is your network layer, builds the packet with the destination address and gives it to the IP software to transmit. okay. Now the IP software, it looks at the address and sees that destination is on its own network and it needs the IP address, it needs the Ethernet address. Now what does your host 1 do? In order to determine the destination Ethernet address, it broadcasts a packet into the Ethernet asking who owns this IP address, that is 192.31.65.5. Now host 2, which is there on the same network, it tells or it also responds to the broadcast message telling that I am the owner of this particular address and this is my Ethernet address or the MAC address. When host 1 learns the IP address is this with the Ethernet address E2, it builds a frame and transmits it to the lower layer. Now the protocol that maps the IP to the Ethernet, that is, there is some procedure over here, correct? The host 1, that is a sender machine, it has to broadcast the packet onto the Ethernet asking who owns this IP address, waits for the response, and it also maintains the cache of this mapping, right? So there is some procedure followed over here, or there is some protocol that is being followed over here. That particular protocol is called as address resolution protocol, mapping of IP address to the Ethernet address, right? So now there are few advantages associated with this. The first main advantage is simplicity, because instead of maintaining a configuration files are nothing but a huge file that contains of mapping which is done manually, right? But manual configuration, every time whenever a new machine is added to the network, you have to rebuild these configuration files. Instead of having that, if at all you have a protocol that that updates these configuration files dynamically, that makes the life simpler, right? Now there are few optimization on this protocol. First one is to cache the result, right? So whenever I get the mapping, I make sure I store it into my cache so that any further transmission to the same machine would not require me to broadcast the message again, right? Also, whenever I send a broadcast message, I include my own IP address into that message so that the destination can build a packet using my Ethernet address and send it to me, right? And broadcast the machine IP address when they boot for the first time. So these are few optimizations that are usually done on the network for easier or better throughput and reduced delay, right? Yeah. Host 1 wants to send a packet to host 4. So you have your host 1 over here and you have your host 4 on a different network. Using ARP will fail because host 4 will not be able to broadcast, right? You have to remember one thing, whenever broadcasting is done, it is done only within the network. You basically cannot broadcast the packets onto a different network, right? Now you have two solutions. The first one is CS router could be configured to respond to the ARP request, and this solution is called as a proxy ARP. That is, whenever E1 wants to send, whenever host 1 wants to send a packet to some other different network, right? What it can do is it can send the packet to a default router. Okay, now this is basically acting as your proxy. The second solution is to have host 1 immediately see that the destination is on a remote network and send such traffic to a default Ethernet that handles all the remote traffic. In this case, it is your E3. So if you just look at E3 has the IP address of 192.31.65.1. So all the traffic from E1 to E4 are being sent to your E3, right? So this is how your ARP works. The other protocol is DHCP, which stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. As I told you, there were two more protocols which were designed for the similar purpose, that is your RARP and BOOTP. However, due to their own disadvantages, both have become obsolete now, and DHCP is a protocol that allows manual IP address assignment and automatic assignment of the IP addresses. Okay, this is basically a server designed in order to allocate the IP addresses as and when the host boots up on the network. Now there is also a problem over here where to place this server, right? Since DHCP server is not reachable by broadcasting, in a network you basically have a DHCP relay agent that is maintained in every network. So if you just observe over here, you have two LAN and you have a server which is there on LAN 2, right? So newly booted host which is looking for an IP address, it sends a DHCP discover packet which is catched by your DHCP relay agent, which takes this request to the server and the server responds back, right? Also an issue arises for with automatic assignment of IP addresses from a pool for how long the IP address to be allocated. So after a period of time, these addresses are returned back to the pool, and this fixed period of time is basically called as leasing. Okay, we have also already seen it in our college also. right? We have a